Bhagavan, tell me a little bit about the structure of the school. What was your role in the school?
I was the director of the school. I was looking into the spiritual side of the school.
I see.
On a day-by-day basis, I used to conduct classes on meditation, on spirituality, on philosophy. So I used to take such classes. So children were exposed to a very high level of understanding of the philosophy, of science, much beyond their age. And there were occasions when I also taught mathematics and history. That also used to be done.
How was the way that you taught the lessons, or the way that the school was conducted different? As well as being a school for enlightenment, I think there were many other things about the school that were unusual and revolutionary.
Yes. For example, we were not giving ranks in the school. Children were not ranked. And there was no question of detaining a child in any particular standard. Everybody automatically passed. And if the child refused to study, he would not be compelled to study. And basically what we were emphasizing was relationship among children and between the children and their parents. What we are now doing in the courses was what we were doing then. But strangely, the children also did academically very well. Today, most of them are doctors, engineers. They hold very important positions in the corporate sector. They did not end up as failures in the world either. So they are not only in a very good state of consciousness, but they're also worldly very successful.
So, but you were not putting any pressure on them to become successful?
No academic pressure was put on the child. It was never done. And the children were not scolded, and they were never beaten. And if any teacher was found being very harsh with the child, the teacher was removed from the school.
So this provides a really different model for education, because many people would say unless you discipline a child and push them through the exams, they're going to become nothing.
Yes, but then we could prove that it is not really true. But then you also had to be a teacher with enormous love. Otherwise, probably it cannot be done. Merely giving a child freedom may not fully work. He needs to have a teacher around who is completely comfortable with himself. The teacher himself must be experiencing inner freedom and inner joy, and he must relate to the child in a very different way. Then it's possible, not otherwise.
I went to visit the school with Anandagiri, your acharya, and he was showing me around, and he was telling me at the you announced the school before you had the money, before you had the students, so that was quite a bold step.
Yes, we had the buildings. Probably a year before the school started, I expressed the intent that on this date the school would start. But there was no land, there was no money, there's nothing in fact. We just approached one gentleman and told him, would you give us some land on lease? So he said, yes, you could take this land. And then we went and met some people and said, would you like to start a school like this? Some said, okay, we'll help you a little bit. So we began with just one main building. And then in a matter of 3-4 years, the school grew sufficiently big. But it exactly commenced on that date with buildings, with money, and with students.
When I visited the school, I saw one of the signs. It said it was about the education system. But I believe there were other signs also. Can you remind me what was written on some of the signs in the school?
Well, there were a lot of other boards. One board read, this place exists for the enlightenment of man. There was another board which said, man is mad. So there are a lot, your thoughts are not your thoughts, self is a concept. Such boards were there. But since we left the place because of the weather and the lack of maintenance, many of the boards collapsed.
What was your purpose in making these boards?
Basically, we are trying to educate the parents that the current educational system was destroying their children, and that the school must help help the child discover what he or she really was. And basically, the whole focus was on making the child enlightened. We are trying to rid the child of the self and free him from all self-centered activity. That was the whole sankalpa, or the intention of the school. And finally, that was achieved.
The most prominent thing when you enter the school is the large statue of the Buddha.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Was that there from the very beginning?
That was not from the very beginning, but somewhere in the middle, the statue was placed there because a painter had come and very spontaneously made the statue of the Buddha. And we thought, since he symbolizes enlightenment, why not we keep him in the park?
So you started out with very few students then?
Yes.
How much did it grow? What was the maximum size of the school?
It went up to a max of 179
Yes.
residential students.
Yes.
And about 200 day students.
That's a big operation.
Yes. But once this phenomenon broke out, the school became so famous that it nearly became impossible to run the school anymore. And we had to focus on our spiritual work. So we shut down the school. Yeah. And now we help other schools do this kind of work.